Before the dawn of time, before the first stars were hung on the vast canvas of the universe, there was only God, the Almighty. He dwelt in unapproachable light, seated upon a throne of infinite power, surrounded by celestial hosts who worshipped without ceasing. His presence was an ocean of radiant glory, beyond comprehension, beyond words. Among these divine beings stood one who shined above all others, Lucifer, the morning star. Lucifer was not just another angel. He was the first and greatest of all created beings. God himself had fashioned him with his own hands, sculpting him as the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and beauty. His body radiated celestial light, his garments woven from the very essence of divine majesty. Every gemstone known to creation adorned his being, each reflecting a different facet of God's splendor. His wings stretched wide, vast, and shimmering like the golden dawn, carrying the music of the heavens wherever he moved. He was given dominion over the angelic host, second only to God in might and wisdom. He led the heavenly choirs, his voice resounding like thunder wrapped in melody. The symphonies of eternity moved at his command, and in him, the angels found a leader both majestic and wise. Even the mighty archangel Michael revered his presence, and Gabriel, the messenger, stood in awe of his eloquence. Lucifer walked among the fiery stones in the very presence of God. He stood at the pinnacle of heaven's hierarchy, the very embodiment of divine artistry. He was heaven's greatest masterpiece. But in the depths of his heart, a question arose, a thought that had never before been whispered among the celestial ranks. Why should I serve, when I could rule? And so, the greatest tragedy in all creation began, not with a battle, nor with an open rebellion, but with a thought. The heavens had never known disobedience. Every angel, from the highest seraphim to the lowest messenger, existed in perfect unity. Their will was aligned with the will of the Almighty, and their greatest joy was to serve. But now, within the heart of one, a storm brewed, a whisper that had never before been uttered. Lucifer, heaven's brightest star, had begun to question. He was adorned with celestial radiance, draped in garments woven from divine light. His presence alone commanded admiration, but admiration was no longer enough. He desired more. Lucifer began to withdraw from his duties, no longer leading the choirs with the same fervor. His voice, once the most powerful among the celestial harmonies, grew quieter, more contemplative. The fire within him did not dim, but changed. One day, as he gazed at his own reflection in the golden rivers of heaven, a single question echoed within his mind. Why must I serve when I was made to shine? He turned his gaze toward the throne of God, where the light was brightest, and another thought took shape, one far darker. What if I could ascend beyond the throne? The perfect harmony of heaven had never known discord, had never witnessed rebellion. The divine order had remained unshaken for ages beyond human comprehension. Every angel had their purpose, their role in the grand celestial symphony, and none had ever questioned it, until now. The brightest of them all, Lucifer, the one whom even Michael admired, now carried within him a growing darkness that heaven had never seen before. A once loyal heart had begun to turn. Lucifer, still clothed in unimaginable brilliance, began to walk apart from his brethren. The joy he once found in leading heaven's worship had diminished. Where once he had lifted his voice in unshaken praise to the Almighty, he now stood silent, his thoughts consumed by something far more dangerous than any earthly temptation, pride. As the days passed, whispers of dissatisfaction spread like a slow-moving storm cloud. Why must we serve? Why must we bow? Lucifer's words, spoken in careful secrecy, began to resonate among the angels who had long followed him. His charisma had always been magnetic, his presence undeniable, and now, those who had admired him most found themselves questioning what had once been absolute. One by one, they gathered. In hidden places of heaven, away from the all-seeing throne, the first meetings of rebellion took place. The angels listened as Lucifer spoke, his voice rich with power, his words laced with promise. "We are mighty. We are the most glorious of all creation. And yet, we bow. We submit. But what if we were meant for more? What if we could rise? What if we could take the throne?" The angels, stunned by such words, at first trembled at the thought. It was an idea so dangerous, so foreign, that they could scarcely comprehend it. But Lucifer, with his golden tongue and undeniable brilliance, did not cease. He spoke of freedom, of ruling rather than serving. He spoke of their right to power. And so, the first third of heaven wavered. But heaven does not turn a blind eye. Before rebellion could take full root, a voice of righteousness shatters the silence. From the celestial gates, Michael, the warrior of God, steps forward. His face is like lightning, his eyes burning with divine fire. He has seen what is happening, and he can no longer stand silent. "Lucifer, brother, you speak words of ruin. You stand at the edge of destruction. Turn back before it is too late." Lucifer does not flinch. He meets Michael's fiery gaze with cold defiance. "I have seen the truth, Michael. I have seen what we could be. Why must we crawl when we could soar? Why must we serve when we were made to rule?" Michael steps forward, his hand on the hilt of his sword, his voice filled with sorrow rather than anger. "You know not what you do. You fight against the very light that gives you life. If you take this path, there will be no return." Lucifer's eyes darken, his wings spreading wide, his form pulsing with the might of his growing defiance. "Then let it be war." Lucifer's eyes burned with defiance. He lifted his sword and declared, "No longer shall I bow. No longer shall I serve. I will take my place above the stars of God." And then, the first blow was struck. Swords of celestial fire clashed with unfathomable force, shaking the very foundation of heaven. The war in heaven had begun. Thunder rolled as light and darkness collided. Angels fought against angels, their once unbreakable brotherhood now severed by rebellion. The sky split apart, revealing a cosmic battlefield, flames and lightning illuminating the chaos. Lucifer, wielding a blade of corrupted light, clashed with Michael, the two warriors locked in a struggle that echoed through eternity. Sparks erupted as divine energy met darkened power. Michael fought with the righteous fury of heaven, every strike reinforcing God's will. Lucifer, consumed by his own pride, fought with relentless determination. The two forces were evenly matched, their battle shaking the cosmos. But Michael was unyielding. Empowered by divine righteousness, he saw the moment to strike. Raising his flaming sword, he called upon the might of the Almighty. With a final, decisive blow, he struck Lucifer down. A blinding flash of light tore through the battlefield. The very fabric of heaven trembled. Lucifer screamed in fury as he and his followers plummeted from the celestial realm. As they fell, the very gates of heaven closed behind them, sealing their fate. The morning star had been cast down. The once greatest of angels was no more. Lucifer had become Satan. The heavens shook with a force never before seen. The battlefield, once resplendent with celestial light, was now clouded with the aftermath of war. Blazing swords, the echoes of clashing wings, the cries of the fallen, all had led to this moment. Lucifer, once the greatest of all creation, now plummeted from heaven's heights. The morning star, whose radiance had once filled the heavens, now tumbled like a dying ember, his wings burning as he fell. His army, the rebellious angels who had dared to stand against the Almighty, fell with him. They screamed, not in pain, but in fury. They had lost. The voice of God had thundered through the heavens, sealing their fate. There was no return, no redemption. Only the abyss awaited them. Lucifer struggled, twisting in the void, his form warping as divine wrath stripped him of his former beauty. The glow of heaven that had once adorned him now became a twisted remnant, an ember of the darkness he had embraced. His body writhed as the weight of judgment bore down on him. Then, with a terrifying force, he and his followers collided with the abyss. Lucifer was no more. The name that had once inspired awe in heaven, the name that had been spoken with reverence, now carried only the weight of betrayal. He had thought himself victorious, thought he could claim the throne of God himself. But now, he was cast out, rejected, despised, banished to the depths of creation. Yet, as he stood in the abyss, something stirred within him. He had not lost everything. No, he had gained something else, hatred. A burning, consuming hatred unlike any the universe had ever known. If he could not rule heaven, then he would rule the abyss. If he could not sit upon the throne of the Almighty, then he would build his own kingdom, one forged in darkness and fueled by vengeance. Turning to his fallen brethren, he raised his voice. We were cast out, but we are not finished. Heaven rejected us, but we will not remain broken. If I cannot be the morning star above, then I shall be the king of the fallen below. A deafening roar erupted from the fallen angels, their voices rising in defiance. Their despair melted away, replaced with dark purpose. The first kingdom of darkness had begun. Satan had lost the battle for heaven. But he had not lost the war. Even as he sat upon his new throne, his mind was already plotting. He knew that God had a new creation planned, a world where humanity would be given free will, the ability to choose between good and evil. And if there was one thing Satan had learned, it was how to plant doubt. He would not charge heaven again. He would not challenge God in open war. No, this time, he would be far more cunning. He would corrupt the very thing God loved most. The war was not over. It had only just begun. The world trembles, the skies churn in turmoil, and the heavens prepare for war. The prophecy of ages is reaching its fulfillment. The time has come. The final war, the battle to end all battles, Armageddon. For millennia, Satan, the once great morning star, has woven his deception into the hearts of men, corrupting nations, swaying rulers, and leading souls astray. The world, blinded by sin, has fallen deep into his grasp. Darkness has stretched its hand across the earth, and now, the hour of reckoning has arrived. The heavens open. A brilliant, unapproachable light pierces the sky, parting the darkness like a blade of fire. A white horse emerges, and upon it rides the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ, the Lion of Judah. His robe is dipped in blood, and upon his head are many crowns. His eyes burn with a fire that no mortal can withstand, and in his hand, he wields a sword of righteous judgment. Behind him, the armies of heaven descend, warriors of light clad in white, their armor gleaming with the radiance of eternity. On the earth below, Satan gathers his legions. The beast and the false prophets stand at his side, their ranks teeming with the armies of the wicked, those who have sworn allegiance to darkness. The kings of the earth, the deceived, and the damned march under his banner, their weapons raised against the Almighty. The climactic battle has begun. The war is fierce, but it is not long. The beast is seized, his cries of defiance echoing into nothingness. The false prophet, the great deceiver, is dragged from his throne of lies. And then, with one final act of judgment, both are hurled into the lake of fire, where they will be tormented forever. But Satan still stands. He does not yield. He summons all the power left within him, his form shifting into something monstrous, something beyond human comprehension. He lunges at the King of Kings, his last desperate act of defiance. And then, with a single word, it is over. The sword of the Lord flashes like 1,000 suns, and the Prince of Darkness is struck down. His power is ripped from him, his strength reduced to nothing. The heavens thunder, and the great dragon, the deceiver of nations, is bound in chains. Michael and the host of angels cast him into the abyss, where he will be sealed for 1,000 years. His screams echo as he falls, no longer the mighty Lucifer, no longer the king of demons, only a fallen, defeated enemy of God. With the enemy vanquished, the battle is over. Darkness has been driven from the world. The heavens shine brighter than ever before. The earth is cleansed, renewed, free from the corruption of the fallen one. The King of Kings, the Lamb who was slain, now reigns over all. The faithful rejoice. The new kingdom has begun. The reign of Christ is eternal. And through all of heaven and earth, one phrase is whispered, repeated like an unending song. Who is like God? The echoes of battle have faded. The war that raged across the heavens and the earth has come to its destined end. The dark forces have been vanquished, their rebellion crushed beneath the weight of divine judgment. Satan, once Lucifer, the greatest of all angels, now lies in eternal chains. The lake of fire has consumed the beast and the false prophet. The heavens no longer tremble, and the earth has been purified by fire. The old has passed away, and the new has begun. The gates of eternity open, and from the highest throne, a proclamation resounds across all creation. Behold, I make all things new. The new heaven and new earth emerge in unimaginable splendor, glowing with the radiance of God's glory. The former things, pain, suffering, death, sin, have all been erased. No more will the darkness of evil taint the hearts of men. The curse that began in Eden has finally been undone. From the celestial throne, the King of Kings, Jesus Christ, reigns in power and righteousness. The faithful gather before him, their robes washed in purity, their faces radiant with everlasting joy. This is the moment foretold since the foundation of the world, the restoration of perfect harmony. No more war, no more rebellion, no more sin. Time itself bows before the eternal now. The beginning and the end have met, and in their union, a new era has begun. The Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, reigns over all. The book of history is sealed, its final chapter written by the hand of God himself. And yet, eternity is not an ending, it is the true beginning. The redeemed will walk with God as Adam once did in Eden, but now with knowledge, with love refined through trial, with hearts incapable of corruption. The curse is broken, and life will never taste death again. The tree of life, denied to humanity after the fall, now stands in the center of the holy city, its leaves for the healing of the nations. The river of life flows from the throne of God, its waters filling the new creation with perpetual renewal. The saints will never thirst, will never hunger, will never know the ache of longing, for all has been fulfilled. What began in glory ended in redemption. The morning star fell, but the light of the world rose. The great rebellion, the war that shook heaven, the corruption of earth, all of it is now but a memory, a lesson written into the foundations of eternity. The name of Lucifer is no longer spoken, for his existence has been swallowed by the flames of his own making. His kingdom was fleeting, his rule a mere shadow, but the kingdom of God, it is forever. The Lamb reigns, the redeemed live, and the universe sings with joy. The story has ended, and eternity has begun.